It can be emotionally grueling when a relative first goes into a dementia unit. So much anxiety, so many unknowns, and with so little out there on the subject, it's difficult to know where to start. So really, it's a matter of taking one step at a time, step by step. And the pragmatic approach works well, especially initially, because when a relative first goes into a dementia unit, there is so much that has to be done and so many people to get to know, so many layers and levels of communication and form filling and discussions and meetings. It's a plethora of activity. So working through that is actually a blessing in disguise because it separates you from the emotional roller coaster that can so easily happen when someone goes into a dementia unit who is close to you. But taking this pragmatic approach is really the best way because it settles the anxiety, or rather it may not solve it entirely, but at least it diverts you initially to be able to get through the process, because one needs to be settled as the relative for the person going into the dementia facility. It's stressful for you, of course, but also equally, if not more stressful, and certainly confusing for them. So if you're settled enough to be able to manage the whole process and situation, then you'll be able to give them the adequate support. And they need so much support because with their dementia alone, that's so confusing with all the memory loss and the blanks and anxiety and depression that comes with that. So if you can be a rock for them, that will enable them to settle into their unit a lot more effectively. And of course you have to set up their room and get their bedding sorted and the chair comfortable and the pictures around the wall, everything familiar, comfortable, warm and cozy. So at least they've got a nice place to be able to come to, some respite, so that they can sit there with their thoughts and try and settle down and make sense of what's going on. But at some point, and sooner rather than later, you will need to explain to them why they're there. Now, this can be emotionally very stressful and difficult to approach. And some relatives avoid it and think, oh, well, look, I'll leave it up to the doctor or the nurse to tell them that they're at a dementia unit. But really, it's so much better coming from someone who loves them and who is supporting them, because they can trust that opinion and they will receive the love and kindness and support with what you are saying. They need to feel supported in the long term, in the present, and also in the long term coming up. If they're going to be in a dementia unit, they want to know that they've got your support throughout that time and you know what's going to happen to them. So if you explain to them in a loving and kind manner the fact that they've got the memory loss, they will know that anyway, that memory loss has been a problem for some time. But you just need to explain to them in a way that you will know how, in the most loving, kind, compassionate, reassuring way, that it has become unmanageable to have them living at home with you, say if you're the partner. Really, that's the bottom line, isn't it? And if you put it even on yourself, that you are unable to help them manage, that you're unable to manage their cares, that you're unable to manage looking after them with all the direction, orientation loss and them getting lost and you having to go out to find them, and the risks in the home, with pots on the stove and all the risks with the tap running and the water overflowing and whatever examples there are. Just explain it. Some of it may trigger in the person's mind, especially big events they may well recall, but it is important for them to understand why they are there, that it's because of memory loss that they are there. Otherwise, they'll often think that you're just abandoning them, that you're divorcing them, that you're separating, that you don't want to be with them anymore. So many times I've heard this from husbands and wives, saying, oh, they don't want to be with me anymore, they've, left me, divorced me, etc. And if you can reassure them that that's not the case, that it's just because the situation's unmanageable and the memory loss problem, and all the people here in this facility are here because of a memory loss problem, and all the cares are being done for them so that they can manage. And then from there, you know, going to the next step of supporting them long-term in a dementia facility. And, you know, love and support, really, it doesn't change. If there really is that love and support for that person, for that person that you love, it won't change no matter what happens in the future. Because love never dies, does it? Love doesn't die. Love will stay. And as long as they know that they're loved and supported, really, we can go through practically everything when that's the case, when we know that. So that's the main thing for them to receive from you. But the reality as well, they do also need to understand what's happening, why they're there, because otherwise it will create too much confusion. Then once they do understand, the subject doesn't need to be broached again once they understand, because then after that they'll accept and be able to assimilate living there, and with your support, you know, work through each stage as it comes. So I've written about these topics and more in these two books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, and on Amazon and my website, pietavalentine.com. There's the ebook, hardcover and softcover. So if you enjoy reading, it's a really good place to start. So much to know, so much in there. It's an easy read, but comprehensive at the same time. So thank you for your looks and your likes and support, and please subscribe. Thank you.